And I guess I did at the last school, gave kind of a sneak peek to tonight. I know you all will probably be there. But a quick introduction of myself. I was born and raised in Springfield, Massachusetts. I'm the youngest of 8, so I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers. And I was born Muslim. My parents converted to Islam, so went to Sunday school. Didn't have a school like this, so I was homeschooled. However, basketball was a big part of my family. And I always say, like, growing up in an inner city as a black kid or as a black youth, there aren't many opportunities. And sport is usually a way um, to get higher education and really just a pathway to success. So I picked up the ball at around age 4 or 5, watching my siblings play. I wanted to be just like my brothers. I would watch them outside all the time, shoot, do crossovers and all those cool moves. And I literally just, it became a part of me. And at a very young age, I had a very serious conversation with my parents, and they said, look, you have to get a scholarship to school because we can't afford college. And so that's when basketball became more so a job and not a hobby. And I practiced until I became one of the best players in my city. You know, took a lot, it was a grind, but soon after I finally went to public school, well, charter public we called it, and I was an 8th grader, made the varsity team, and things kind of took off for me from there. I began to wear hijab freshman year in high school. That's when things got a little shaky for me. But where I felt most comfortable was on the court. And yeah, I did get laughed at, I got stared at, got called names, but I used that as fuel to kind of push through and score as many points as I could to help my team win. So past high school, I was able to get a full scholarship to University of Memphis. And of course, when you get a full scholarship, it's wonderful. You don't pay a penny. And my parents didn't have to pay a thing. And the school actually kind of paid us a little bit to help, you know, with the daily living, to buy your lotions, your body washes, all the little essential things you need in life. And it was a great experience. But for you all, kind of stepping into, everybody seniors in this room?
No.
Okay, who's seniors? Okay, good amount. One thing about college is it's a whole new world. And you seem like you all are very active outside of your school and outside of these walls, so you know what kind of real life is like. However, if you are away from your parents, if you're not commuting and you're living life on your own, it's a challenge. I went over 1,000 miles away from my parents as a young black Muslim girl who had no idea about life. I experienced things, but I wasn't ready for the challenges and the tests I was going to face as a Muslim. And that's when things became interesting, I should say. And being a Division I athlete, you're around potential NBA players, you're around potential NFL ballers, and the things that you see, the things that were always in my environment on a daily basis. There were parties in my apartment where I had to pick and choose. Am I going to go to the party or am I not? Am I going to go out with my friends or am I not? Every day having to battle what kind of my core values were as a Muslim. Many times I was offered alcoholic drinks, like, no, it tastes like soda, just go ahead, drink it. It's not going to hurt anybody. Like, these are the things that I had to battle on a daily basis. And I pray that you all are never put into those positions, but who knows? You know, God really knows best. But what I can say is that you're going to be tested. Whether you are Muslim or not, you're going to be tested. And what I learned through my test after I was told I couldn't play basketball because of hijab, I felt like God was testing my faith. And in that moment, when I had to make this vital decision, I was in a pretty dark place. I was questioning being Muslim. I was questioning hijab. In that time, people would come up to me, and when they heard about my story and me battling FIBA, because essentially I couldn't play because the organization said I could hurt somebody by wearing my hijab in the game, which is totally bogus. But this is what they perceived. And people would, you know, come up to me and say, why don't you just take it off for the game and then put it back on? And to my, you know, my immediate response would be, no, you know, the hijab means more than that. It's a part of my identity. But deep down, it really wasn't. I struggled with hijab. I struggled with modesty for a very long time. And basketball kind of helped me blend in with my environment. But once basketball was taken away is when I was just a Muslim. And so with these, this advice that I was getting from people, I kind of took it to heart. I'm like, man, I'm going to be in a different country where nobody knows me. I can take it off for 40 minutes in a game and then put it back on. This is what when I went home and I was by myself, this is what I thought. And I knew it didn't feel right. I knew it didn't feel right deep down. But I remember no human being was giving me the right answer. Like people weren't giving me the right advice. And so I had to dig down deep and really just pray, because that's all I knew. Even though I was researching other faiths, because I was questioning God, like, why would he do this to me? I tried to wear my hijab throughout my high school career, throughout college. I prayed, I fasted, I tried to do the good, but I wasn't doing it to the best of my ability, clearly. So when I felt like when God took away basketball, he was basically asking me, what are you going to do? And I remember praying this prayer, and I mentioned it at the last school, and I'll mention it tonight because it was life-changing for me. Because when you're born into Islam, or born into whatever faith you are, you're taught it. It's like innate. It's like autopilot. We pray because we know where to pray. We fast because that's what we grew up doing. You almost inherit the faith. And for me, that's what it was. My parents converted. My husband converted. But we as Muslims don't get the chance to fall in love with it, especially as young Muslims. We're Muslim because we're Muslim. That's it. But I felt like in this prayer, I finally needed God or Allah to guide me. I needed him to help me see what was next, because I was completely lost, hanging around the wrong people, literally like on the verge of like ripping this thing off, and I'm going overseas to play, because I had money at my fingertips. I had traveling the world at my fingertips. I was going to be able to buy the nicest clothes, the name brand sneakers. I'm a sneakerhead, by the way. And I was going to be able to post it and get likes. I was going to live for likes. I wanted people to see the life I was living. God was like, no, because you slow down. You don't know what it's like. And so after that prayer, and actually during that prayer, I promise you, I was probably 23 at the time. I'm not that old. But I was 23 at the time. And I remember praying that prayer and actually feeling it. And not just praying how we would just get through it. Sometimes how we just look like, I say, a chicken pecking for food. Up and down, up and down. I stayed in Sujood. I was stuck there, and I'm like, something physically changed in my heart. I finally felt what Islam was supposed to feel like. And I felt like being born Muslim at that time is when I converted, where I accepted Islam. And so with that being said, I learned very quickly that the worldly life, especially social media, living for other people, it doesn't matter. My passion was taken away, but my core values weren't. And I feel like we as young Muslims and whatever, I don't know if everybody in here is Muslim, but is that right? All the students are Muslim right now, like in here? Okay, so I can speak on that term. Sorry if that was an uncomfortable question. Okay. But it's tough right now in this world that we live in. And the most important thing that you all can do is stay grounded. It's hard, I'm telling you, because I still am tested. When I walk through airports and go through security, I'm looked at like I'm crazy, and I really want to like, what are you looking at, like, really, like, what? But I can't, because what am I going to make Muslims look like? So you always have to be on your toes, especially as a Muslim, if you're a Muslim woman and you wear hijab. You always have to be on your toes and be ready. But I think when you take that next step into college, wherever you go, remember who you are. Remember what your parents taught you. Remember your values, because they can be easily ripped away. Even if you're not even into the parties, or you're getting caught up with boys or guys. And for the guys, I know your struggle is to have to provide, make money, and then lower your gaze. It's hard. It's going to be hard. It's hard for us. But what I want you all to remember is this world will try to change you. Don't let it change you. Let's make the change. Let's take back the narrative of who we are. Because if we continue to let the media speak for us, it's never going to be positive. If we continue to conform to what they want us to be, we never will have our own story. So I hope and pray that you all continue the work that you do. And thank you for what you do, because you're the next generation. I'm trying to do my part, and it's hard, but we need the work that you all do. So thank you.
Thank you.